Hey, it's Tim.
And it's Amy from GoWithLess. Welcome to our channel, or welcome back to our channel. We're really glad that you're here. Today's video tackles a subject that we are asked about all the time on our channel. It's one of our most frequent questions, and it has to do with financial independence and kids. Do we have kids specifically? Make sure that you tune in through the whole thing because we have a really great giveaway coming up at the end of the video.
Every Wednesday we come out with a new video here at GoWithLess talking about our early retirement and how we retired early. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and with that, let's get started. I have 3 kiddos from a prior marriage, and about 12 years ago when those kiddos were introduced to Amy, she began raising them as if they were her own.
All 3 of our kids are 18 or older. Our youngest turned 18 earlier this year, and she's off on her own. Our kids have left the nest, so it's just the 2 of us at home now. We wanted to talk a little bit about the process of us discovering the FIRE financial independence movement because she was with us in a teenager, so it was kind of a big deal.
We're also a little purposeful about not talking about the children because they are adults and they haven't volunteered to participate in our channel, so we purposefully avoid conversations about them because they're not active participants in this and we are trying to honor their privacy.
Yeah, so Tim and I have put an enormous amount of our life out on the public internet. This is not for everybody, and we absolutely, as Tim mentioned, we want to respect their privacy, so we're not going to get into nitty-gritty details. These are other adults that we're talking about, so hopefully you respect that they aren't really interested in their whole lives being put out on YouTube either, and we completely get that.
Even if they were little bitty, we probably wouldn't want to be putting them out on the internet either, but it's something that it's their lives, so we are trying to let them have their privacy.
So what I'm going to start with is our daughter going through FIRE with us. When Tim and I discovered this whole movement, she was 13 years old in the 8th grade. We had a big sprawling ranch house, and from our bedroom to her bedroom, you couldn't scream and be heard. It was that far away because it was so spread out. That was kind of crazy. Her room was enormous, but we had this fancy house. Well, when we really jumped on the bandwagon of financial independence and early retirement and all of that, our daughter came along for the ride. Of course, she's part of our family. So we had, our boys were already gone, but we had conversations on the dinner table constantly about personal finance. I don't know about you, if this is something you're interested in, maybe you're having these conversations constantly. Well, we did with our daughter too. We did with ourselves and our daughter. She's at the dinner table with us. This is what we're talking about. So we were kind of obsessed. We still are. That's why we're doing our channel. But it actually helped our relationship.
Yeah, I think she took a lot of lessons away from the conversations. In addition to the help that it provided to her relationship, it seems like she's taken some life lessons in terms of money and how her relationship with money, in addition to sort of a relationship that's improved with us. So when we moved out of our big house into our townhome, we shared a wall with our daughter. She's been gone for 2 weeks now, so we're still trying to adjust to the fact that she is out on her own. That's been a little challenging. But while she was here over the course of the last 4 years, I think that we became a lot closer with her because of proximity. I think the fact that we shared a wall with her and just the fact that we were closer in proximity meant that we were actually to be closer in terms of emotionally as well.
I agree, and that's a really impactful time between 14 and 18 years old, so how fortunate that we had that experience. And when Tim says it's challenging that she's living on her own, not because of her, because she's doing unbelievably well, but having your little one leave the nest is definitely a little bit of growing pains, and we miss having her around. So the challenge is, like I said, she's independent and having a fabulous life, and we're incredibly proud of her.
Sure.
But having a big change from having this big kind of spendy life to reeling it in and going to our town's Goodwill and having a much smaller home in a townhome community, this was a huge shift for someone who might be, I don't know, a little status conscious at this time of year in your mid-teens. This could affect anybody at any age, but especially as a mid-teen. We kind of live in a hoity-toity town, I guess, and she came along for the ride completely. I don't know that all kids would have done it as well. Actually, I'm sure that all kids would not have had such an easy transition. Many do, many don't. Thankfully, she did. So she came along for the ride. She was super gung-ho. As Tim mentioned, she really took the lessons that we have been learning ourselves. She's really internalized those. So now she's careful about living on a budget and earning more money. And she has 2 jobs. She doesn't have to have 2 jobs, but she got 2 jobs because she wants to sock away some money. And she is really careful looking for good deals for food and things that we naturally do. And she just kind of learned at our side, I guess. So it's really funny to see that kind of play out in her.
I'd like to think that some of those life lessons that we provided her along the way are the reason that she's able to be out on her own right now. She has some confidence that she might not have otherwise had because of the fact that she can get away with living with less and things like this. So I believe that we were active
It's all
participants.
because of us.
It's all because of us.
That is not true.
No.
If you're watching this, sweetheart, we don't believe this. Now, we're also going to talk about college because this is a huge one. We get this question over and over again. Tim and I had the intention to fund all three kids a big giant chunk of their education. That was our intention. Our kids had different plans. And like I said, we're not going to get into the nitty gritty, but they did not want to opt for the traditional 4-year college right after high school. And we saw the writing was kind of on the wall as they were in high school, I guess. So we stopped contributing as much to a 529. We realized that we may not need this 529 money for our kids' education because they were looking to go in different paths. And in fact, it looks like they have gone in different paths.
And they may end up in college at some time, but we do still have a chunk of money set aside in a 529. We're not ultimately sure what's going to happen with that money, but it is still sitting there and available for some child's education.
We're expecting our daughter to go to school after she takes a break, but again, life can take different turns and it is her choice. And no matter how much we might want to push college on our kids, it was their choice to make, and certainly they're adults and they're able to make that choice on their own.
We're also asked what our children think about our nomadic plans and when they don't have a home to come back to. How does that feel? Well, the nice thing about our situation here is that my ex-wife has a home here in our community, as well as my children's grandparents, my ex-wife's parents. And so they have existing places where they can come back. And so I don't feel like that they necessarily are begrudging our decision to make this nomadic move.
Now that we've talked about kids and our financial independence, we're going to turn the page and kind of do the other side of this equation, which is parents, our parents and financial independence. My parents divorced when I was in high school and found their soulmates soon after that. So I've had the good fortune of having two sets of parents in my life, really since I was right about early high school.
All amazing people.
Yeah, Tim, they loved a Tim. Who wouldn't love Tim?
And I was an only child raised by my grandparents and my single mom.
And both of us learned a lot of lessons from our parents. So we're going to share some of those because I think they shaped who we are today. My dad and stepmom were investment bankers in the 1980s. Think Wall Street and Wolf of Wall Street, the movies. They were working in these environments and they are frugal at heart. I wasn't always frugal. So Tim and I, we've talked a lot on our channel that we thought we were frugal, but we really weren't frugal. But I did see what frugal looked like. I should have known better, whatever. My parents went to work in this environment of excess 80s. Their coworkers wore furs to work. They took private cars to work. They took the subway to and from work and wore normal clothing. And their peers would say, like, why are you not living large like the rest of us? And it just wasn't their style. So fortunately, I saw them live this way. And it took a little while, I think, to really imprint. But those lessons were back there. And they have come out in the past 5 years, which are incredible. I'm also going to share that they weren't into gifts. They weren't into stuff at all. They weren't into experiences. So my dad and stepmom are major travelers and showed me that traveling the world is a worthwhile thing to do. And I followed along on their adventures from afar, like, wow, like that sounds so cool. So big surprise that I am where I am now, but it certainly is aided by my parents leading this way all around the world. And it was so cool that I might be able to do this myself someday. So kind of getting that no stuff and enjoying experiences, especially travel, really sunk into my core.
There are two money lessons that I really took away from my mom. The first one is going to be hard work. My mom owned an answering service in our small town where she slept in front of a switchboard that was in our house. So this was before the age of voicemail and things like that. And so she literally worked 24/7 and she would have people come in and relieve her. And so
an hour.
For just a few hours. And so she definitely taught me the value of hard work. And then the other thing that she taught me was gave me a healthy fear of debt. So I don't know why, but she definitely didn't like the idea of having debt, didn't like the idea of credit cards. And so if you've watched any of our travel hacking videos, I've embraced a different side of that. But nonetheless, I certainly was fearful of having debt of any sort of substantial amount.
Yeah, fortunately, she didn't imprint on the credit cards.
No, not so much.
But we still have avoided debt forever, other than our mortgage
Debt,
in the
that
past.
is. That's
Yeah,
what credit
so we've
card
avoided debt, but credit cards, we are A-okay with credit cards.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. And when it comes to our parents in their advancing ages, they are okay. So I mentioned I have two sets of parents. They are both set through their lives, and I don't have to worry about saving for them in their future, which is a gift for me as well.
Yeah, and the same thing for my mom. My mom has always assured me that she's always been an independent woman, and she's certainly been financially independent and has shared with me that she's set and capable of taking care of herself. So we are definitely very lucky in that our parents gave us some early life lessons, as well as we're very lucky because they were savvy enough to make sure that they can care for themselves as they advance in age.
And this is going to lead us to our giveaway this week. Our friend Cameron Huddleston is coming out with a new book. It's going to be on Amazon, and it releases on June 25th. For now, there is an early bird price on Amazon, so there is a discounted price, and it is perfect with this topic that we're talking about. It's called Mom and Dad, We Need to Talk: How to Have Essential Conversations with Your Parents About Their Finances. This is incredibly important. Like I said, actually, like Tim said, we know that our parents are taken care of, but this money can be a real funny thing to talk about. I've been talking about it with my family for really my entire life. So it's something we're very comfortable about. I know many families are not that comfortable, but it's really important to know what are your parents' intentions and how do you fit into that. So this is our giveaway. One copy of this book. Cameron is going to send one lucky reader a copy. You do have to live in the 48 contiguous United States in order to enter. And here's how you enter. Put a comment down below that includes your state. That way, by the way, if you don't want this book, maybe this doesn't apply to you, or you do not live in the 48 contiguous United States, we still want you to put comments. So we're going to ask for comments about a different topic, about a related topic in a second. But if you want to participate in the drawing, how we're going to know that you want to participate in the drawing is that you're going to have some comment, and in it you're going to say, and I live in Ohio, or whatever. And then whenever we pick the winner, we're going to pick that winner, by the way, on Sunday, June the 16th. This video goes live on Wednesday, June the 12th. So get your comments in before the end of day, June 16th. We're going to pick a winner, and then we're going to notify you in the comments of YouTube. So make sure you're looking at your notifications because we want to get that sent out. Now, if you don't win the book, please go ahead and buy her book. We're going to put links to it in both the video description and the comments, but we have done work with her. She's profiled us for various magazine pieces. She's an excellent writer. We've met her in person. She's a lovely human being, and she's working with aging parents herself now, so she's going through the process and wants to help others along, and we want to help our audience be able to have these conversations. So please make sure that if you, again, haven't won the book, go ahead and pre-order because you're going to get that at a discount.
In the next week or two, there's a related topic that we're going to cover, and that's going to be what ifs. What if something awful happens? How are you going to financially accommodate this given situation? And so we're going to be talking about that in the next couple of weeks.
We're going to be traveling next week, so that video is coming out in the next week or two, but we have a lot to say about what ifs because this can derail your entire financial independence, early retirement plan if that's something that you want to be doing, and we're going to be talking about this quite a bit. So that's coming out on a Wednesday, and we hope that you're going to watch that because you're going to subscribe down below, we hope.
Yep.
Make sure to give us a thumbs up. And this week's comment, we want to understand, what kind of household were you brought up in? Were you brought up in a household that discussed money or never said a word about money? So put a comment down below. I'm going to answer those as soon as I can. I'm hoping to be all caught up over the next few weeks because we're going to be in France.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So see you on Wednesday. With that, au revoir.
Au revoir.